A few minutes, and first of all, thank each one of you for coming out tonight. It's nice to turn out on a Thursday evening just for a meeting greeting. I appreciate your prayers and your support from the bottom of my heart. You're the ones that are on Facebook, a lot of you, and you see, you're out driving the neighborhoods just like myself and see the problems that we have here. And I don't have anything ill to say about my opponent. I've always tried to take the high road of anything that I've ever done in private business or as your justice of the peace. But we have problems, ladies and gentlemen, and it's getting to be critical now. For instance, where Miss Hayden lives on Fostoria Road, as you approach 59, right in the curve, why somebody hasn't got hurt very badly there killed. The drop off is about this wide and about that deep for all the way around the curve. Constable Hayden and I were up there looking at it the other day. That's a pretty simple fix. You can start with some base and put in there and get that taken care of and then come back with some asphalt. It's not hard to do. We see our drainage issues. Many of those are a pretty simple fix. Now, some of the bigger things in the creeks and streams may take a little more money. But our ditches over here, some of our ditches need to be mowed for sure without all the trash in them. But others need to be, there needs to be some excavation on some of the ditches. Some of them, believe it or not, need some dirt put back in them. When you have point A and point B, and you don't have the flow right here, it's too deep. You got the valley where it holds waters and mosquitoes breed all the time. You don't have to be very smart to figure that out. You pump that out, let it dry, put you some dirt back in there, and get your grade right from point A to point B where it falls properly.
Yeah, I noticed too back there where Alan's shop is and stuff, is all those ditches and all the culverts are completely, almost full of dirt all the way through, and there's no drainage, it all drains for 59.
See, you don't, there's a few places like by my house over there where we have to do a innovative thing, but it's not hard. There's something else that the folks are doing in Liberty County, which are up there. They're working with private landowners and to be able to, in some places, do some drainage across private property. They will go in and clear this and maintain it and mow it just with approval from the private landowner. And some simple thinking like that and cooperation with different people, I think you'll be surprised at the people that will agree to work with us and to help us out. And it won't cost a lot to do that. Is that going to solve every problem here in East County? Probably not. But it's not. It hasn't been done before. And to work with those folks. Now, when developers come into the county or the developer or the state will engineer plans to put some of that in their developed areas. But others, there's some rural areas off Dow College over there. That's a wonderful place to work at where that's a fix. Where that would be a fix to that. I've noticed in a number of areas where in the last rain, leaves and grass and stuff piled up on the culverts. We got a simple idea to fix that. You can take a machine. You've seen them like a lot of them you see on the front end loader. They'll be like a rake, just like a finger. Now, I think it would be a little too much to ask. Some of you, if you're just going to get a shovel, yeah, you can clean it out right here, but to clean all this probably be nearly a dump truck load. Why don't you just get you one of those attachments and put on that excavator, walk it down the road, and clean all that stuff up. Get all that lined out. Water is the worst enemy a roadway can have. If water is, even during the rain, if water's on that road and a car comes along, especially 18-wheeler, but a car comes along, you're going to probably be put 1,500 pounds per square inch from that one tire. And it shoots that water. If it ever gets a little crack in there, it's just like high pressure. You're shooting that water in there. And the longer it goes, the worse it gets. Then it'll start deteriorating, and when it gets underneath it, that's when they fall apart fast, like they're doing in a lot of places now. Get the water off your roadway. Get your ditches clean. Get them mowed. Not hard. You don't have to be Einstein to figure that out. Get that done first. And then when you go in and put a new road down, it'll last a lot longer. Your lifespan of it will be a lot longer. You get that road, get the water off of it as fast as you can. Some other things that you don't see on Facebook and some things that we want to do. I've talked to Karen about the seniors and all. We want to do some things for those. They've earned it to be able to get a bus and maybe take them on some trips and do things for them that are not being done now. Is that critical? Well, maybe not, but it's the right thing to do. And we also, we want to have a tracking system. In the courts, we have something called a docket number. As a judge, I can't just I get calls all the time say, hey, so-and-so's not acting right, will you go over there and tell them to stop that? But it would be illegal for me to do that. You might have seen the little video, the little girl, I went to school and talked to the class, and the little girl calling the vets on the play phone and straight the sister out. I can't act without a complaint or an affidavit on file. And so we'll have, once we have that, everything gets a document that you track that with. We want to implement something like that at the commissioner's office. Why is that important? Well, now you don't know if you're being heard or not. If you call up there, well, let me back up. You're obviously not, because a number of people make complaints and you don't see any results. So what we want to do is when you call, we want to give that a number. And we don't have this completely laid out yet, but we got the concept and we're going to get it done if we're successful to be in there. We'll give each call where there's a pothole over here. Why is that a big deal? It's just potholes, that's easy to keep up with. But it may be a tree on the road, or it may be a culvert crush that happened overnight from a car wreck or something that we don't know about. We'll have it where you can call up there, give this a tracking number, let's call it that, a tracking number of that incident. And then we also want it to where you, the public, can go view this. You can just, we want to have it where you can get online, go view, well, this is what I called in, this is what the notes they took down, and this is what has happened or not happened so far. I used to call it the old school way of keeping our feet to the fire. You will be able to look at this and be transparent, and I think most folks will be reasonable. Some things will need to be taken care of immediately, where you just come out in the middle of the night where a tree's down or something. But other things, it might take a week to get it done, or a day. We'll do it on a priority basis, but you'll be able to have a tracking number where you can look at it, this is your case, and go back and see what it was doing. Was the messenger saying he's going to do something, or he's just talking about it? What's being done? We'll add notes in there if the job is completed. We're going to have somebody for quality control that will go back after a job is completed, come back around and check it. And to be able, we'll put the notes back in there just like we do in court. You'll be able to follow that up. So now that protects us as well, that we know we'll have it documented that we did this on this day at this time. And if there's a complaint, some people are going to be angry because there's a regime change. And there you go, you can put all these notes up here and see what happened. It worked well in the court because some people would give us a hard time about, I always tried to be fair, and well, you put a lot of kids in jail. I did it one time, but those kids had been there 5 times, and that's why I didn't get a lot of grief about it from a few people. They'd been there time and time again. They came the first time, they got a break. Second time, a little bit worse, and finally, you're not getting. And I felt as a judge, if a defendant is coming before you 5 times, you're not doing your job. And I always said this, my dad only told me twice, one time. I got it. I couldn't stand any more of the pressure.
Mine too.
Sure.
You know, I always noticed through the years, you know, how they fix the potholes. They just go in there and they throw some asphalt in there, and 6 months later, 4 months later, it's all back out. You know, what about, you know, like taking and cutting that pothole out, cut the street out and reinforcing and put it, you know, well, I don't know, I'm just.
It'll be better if you get all that cleaned out again. Yes. Base. A pothole is a temporary fix till you can completely to repair the road in the future. It's always a temporary fix, but boy, how some of these lately are like real temporary.
I was looking at the machines on my Indeed deal, and they have a machine now that goes in where there's a pothole. It goes in, it cuts it, pulls it back out, and repatches it all at one time.
Yeah, like put a polymer type stuff in there, that'd be something to look at, but right now, it's hot mix is the best thing.
Yes, sir.
But right now, in my opinion, they're wasting a lot of time on some of it.
Yes, sir.
If your road, Reinhardt and them, this is what I liked about them before, if there was, say there's a pothole right here where my foot is, a foot in diameter, when all the rest of your stuff is breaking up, and you fix this, and that might be pretty good there. But if you don't go ahead and fix that part over there, that's going to tear up right behind it
so
in a few
if you
days.
cut that square out and then reinforce it back,
I want them to put sometimes like a 12 by 12, like
Yes,
the
sir.
width of the road and do that whole area right there.
Yes, sir, that'd be the best.
It cost a little bit more, but it lasts a lot longer.
Exactly.
And the life of it was a lot better. And some common sense thinking will go a long way here, guys. I have extensive experience in that type of work, having worked for Brown Group years ago and being in business for myself, and Jamie's in charge of all that stuff now, but I've got the experience. I've worked hurricanes and natural disasters. We've been to work a number of storms from 1983 on, and in 96 we carried 30 people and 20 pieces of equipment to Raleigh, North Carolina, and worked those storms over there. So we understand and working with FEMA, and should I be successful and be your commissioner, I have a gentleman. It would be unethical for me to talk to him right now, but he has supreme FEMA connections, and right now he would be a wonderful asset to have here to help us maybe get some funding. Because I just read that they're about to do this dredging of the San Jacinto River, and a lot of that money's coming from FEMA. A lot of people in Precinct 4 are behind. They're still trying to get funding. It's a problem still for their homes or their cars or different things. I really don't. I can't help like that. So if I could get a guy that works with FEMA all the time, that would be interested in coming, I think that would be a wonderful asset to have for the folks for all of Montgomery County, but for us first and foremost right here to take care of that. J.R. Moore told me one time, he was our former tax assessor, he said, Judge Mitch, you're always thinking outside the box. From the time I was a little boy, I'm always trying to find a better way, a safer way, and a faster way, and a better way of doing things, no matter what it is. Miss Rogers right here. When we were dealing with all those juveniles, I do 6,000 cases a year of fail to attend. It would literally take this lady 2 weeks to set one court. And we were having courts twice a month, so she was just spending tremendous amounts of time. She asked me to come back to the office back there, so she was on the phone with the IT department. She said, I think I've got a solution where I set this court. Was it in 2 hours or 2 days that 2 hours you cut it down to?
2 days.
2 days? So it's taking 2 weeks to set a court. And where we'd have 300 or 400 people, and we had to split them up by alphabet. We had so many people in court. She done this all the time, so much she come up with a way, got with IT department, found a simple way. In 5 minutes she was on there, can you do this on here? They said, yes, can you do that? I said, yep, can you do that right there? They said, sure. She said, do that, do a test. In a few minutes, by somebody, a clerk in the office, they listened to that. If you got a better way, I don't care who you are. I'm not ashamed to say if you or any of you have, hey, how about trying this? I've learned some of the most important lessons in life from children. And so if she saved herself, the county, the taxpayers, a lot of time. Money. Where did Dee go? She had to leave. Dee was another. She had to leave, but I used to sign 12,000 warrants a year. When we were rolling along there. That's a lot of ink, and I would sit down for 2 or 3 hours at a time, but I'd have to go through 3 or 4. Dee come up with simple plans. There was really one page that I had to sign. So she took all that because we were so busy. There might be 500 in a ream of paper for those. I could sit there and I could knock that out pretty fast, and I could go back and get on the bench. Thinking outside the box, doing things that save taxpayers time and money. I'll touch on one thing that's always been important to me, is to try to do find a better mousetrap. This yacht guy slamming me all the time, as you all know. Thank you so much for defending me, and sometimes going on faith I appreciate that trust very much. This net data deal he's talking about on there, so it's an IT department. That's another thing that J.R. Moore, that we did some kiosks and all, got the technology fund to pay for that. Judge Spikes is the one that originally got us hooked up with these folks. The IT department told us, the county told us, we're going to have to change software. So no matter, it's coming, we like what we had with the county, the old system, but it's getting old and outdated, so we're going to have to change. So they wanted to go with this company that I got those folks to come down. The ladies all in office looked at them and said, Judge, please, this is not going to work. We went and got another company called that was Tyler Technologies. When you get bored, go Google Tyler Technologies and fraud or lawsuits and see. Then you'll read and see why Judge Metz went through so much of a battle because they didn't want anything to do with these people because they're horrible. Terrible, terrible problem. We went to AMCAD. A little better than Tyler, but still, mind you, these ladies they're there 10 hours a day, and it's, no offense ladies, but it's never a lady's fault, but it's always their fault when somebody calls up there and we got a problem. They cuss them out, sometimes they just have to hang it up. So we wanted the very best. I don't want to have to deal with any more stress if possible. So that data comes along. They came down to do a presentation, and the lady said, yeah, this will work. If we got to change, this is who we want. They were in 143 offices at the time. Now they're in over 200. There are 822 JP courts in Texas, and these folks are in over 200 of them. And they have a wonderful, wonderful program. Now, Dallas County paid $1.2 million up front we got additional software and additional things that Dallas did, but they paid $1.2 million. We got it for free. They wanted to be collections contractors. A tremendous amount of money. People wouldn't pay their fines or whatever to the county. There's a tremendous amount of millions outstanding. They wanted that collections contract, and they were willing. Judge Spikes and I sat down and worked with them. They were willing to front us the software. We got $2.2 million worth of product for free. It cost us a dime. And they went to work on our collection guys, and in less than 36 months, if any of you watched the presentation where I was a little bit sophomore in court over there that day, but they brought us over $6 million in less than 36 months. Because that program, it's like somebody brought a big suitcase with $6 million in it, set it on the county judge's desk, and here's you some free money. I like to know. I mean, they about crucified me. I never had such a hard time giving away money. We all have kids or somebody needing money from us all the time. Ball teams and stuff that we're trying to help fund and stuff. That's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. To be a good steward of the resources that you entrust me with. I've got the experience to do this. Do I have every answer? No. But I'll tell you what, there's not anybody that's there that'll work harder than me. At 61 years old, where just pick up a chainsaw. These calluses right here on my hand, I didn't get those from pushing a pencil on the bench. Just from working in the yard, being on equipment of my own, or tractors or anything. Just work. Sometimes it just takes to get out there and do a little work, pick up and do some stuff. That's my thinking. That's where I'm at, to try to give you the highest level of service at the lowest possible cost. I've done that for 15 years. You're just to the piece, and you can count on me to do it there. Whether it's you know, you hear politicians, well, I'm going to fight for you for that. I don't want to fight it with anybody. It may not look like that when I go to Commissioner's Court sometimes, but I don't want to fight it with anybody. I want to work. Let's work together to get an end result as quick as we can. I'm just not going to let them push us around. Each county has been looked down on. My family's been here since 1841. It doesn't make us special by any means. They loved it here a long time ago, and I still do. And I want it to be the best for my children and my grandchildren, and all of you. And with your help and the others, we're going to do our best to make that happen. From the results that we see so far, we feel very good about the upcoming election. But it's just going to, just like you guys are doing everything that you should be doing right now on Facebook, calling on the phone to get somebody to go vote. That's how we will win. Not by some fancy deal or anything. It's that simple deal right there. It's simply getting on the phone to make sure you go vote yourself. And I'll be your next commissioner. And I'll do my very best not to let you down, just as I've done it here just so that you can count on me. I'll ask any questions. You guys are supporters, but if you have a question of me about anything, whether it's the sexual harassment I'm accused of, or the liens, or any of that kind of stuff, you ask me, and I'll give you an honest answer. You can, or about any ideas that I may have left out, or if you have an idea you think we should implement, give it here, just like Ms. Rogers and Dee, and then we'll take it, use it, and give you credit for it. Just go.
Judge, are we gonna get the 64 million that we had to give back to Precinct 4 for the road bond?
That's my understanding, that that's like a temporary deal. They may take that and use it now because they need it over there. They couldn't, she's talking about the road bonds and all to where, Clark only spent, I forgot what the percentage was, but it was about 3 million. You had 20 million set now. And we have to pay interest on that. Well, the problem, that's one problem, but the other problem was that the other commissioners have just about completed their projects and they're ready to sell the bonds on the rest of them, but they can only sell $50 million worth without having to raise our taxes. We're not going to stand for that. Jim, I said I won't say anything negative. This is policy. This is not him personally or anything. He caused the entire Montgomery County because he didn't do his job. He fouled all the other commissioners up, and that's why they're put out with him, even James Doyle. Nobody's angry at him. They're just disappointed that it set us all back quite a while. They could only sell 50 million without raising the tax rate. And it should have been to be able to go ahead and complete their project. The bond money, the 280 million, is not enough, but it was a start to be able to do what we need to do for mobility. In 2003, when I came on board as Justice of the Peace, there's about 180,000 people in Montgomery County. Now there's close to 650,000, pretty close. And they're coming here every day. It's a business-friendly environment. Texas is a business-friendly environment. No income tax, no state income tax. So the people are coming here. So what are you going to do about it? You better be prepared to do what you need to do. And that put us to start. We just need some leadership to get things rolling here. And yes, sir.
Only thing I've seen about the last year and a half of work being done is put the culvert in coming in my subdivision county. They dug up the internet that 4 days without any internet.
I've been blessed so far, knock on wood, not to dig up a fiber optic line. That's what they tell me, Mr. Rogers tell me, I think that's about 100,000.
There was no locate. They did not call it.
County's supposed to do an 811 locate, just like me, as a private contractor or anyone else. If you need to do 811 locate over in, I think they call it White Oak down Ford Road down there. They started putting the ditches. Good idea, but they didn't get with the Port of Mud or into, there's a manhole. I mean, it's underground right there in a manhole. So they just got up to that. What do you do now? Just a little thinking to get on the phone and say, hey, y'all got anything out here? If you couldn't see it, some grass and weeds that they hadn't mowed, it deterred you from seeing it. Get on that phone and say, hey, we're about to do something here. What do you have? But the 811 locator will do that for you. It's a little frustrating sometimes. They got 48 hours to get back with you, and then you call them again.
Exactly.
That's how it works. Just follow the procedures and just get you a steady pace. That's my plan. You don't have any ideas or questions? You got anything that I'm missing that you think will help? I want to hear it. I had a call one time. The second time I ran, the judge was laughing at me because in court today, I've been there 15 years. I know a lot about the things. Every now and then you'll come across something you hadn't seen. I'm not ashamed to say, hey, time out. I'm going to go get the book, or I'm going to call the county attorney. I'm going to call another judge to get you the best answer, an accurate answer, even if it can inconvenience you just a few minutes. I simply want to be correct, and I want to do a good job. And that's my plan as a commissioner, to do that. Am I going to please everybody? I'm not going to try. I'd like to tell you one thing. I will listen to what you have to say, and I'm going to work hard for all of us here. That's what I've done all my life. I understand what it means in the Bible, and I understand what it means in Webster. You work for the people. I've told people this many times. I work for you guys. You sign my check every 2 weeks from the county. I work for you. You don't work for me. I've had as many as 60 people working for me at times and working these storms and things like that. I was the guy they answered to. I'm also, like now, as a public servant, I don't have a problem answering to the people. You work for them. Listen to what they have to say. It doesn't make you special. A lady one time told me, I'm about done. The lady met me, never met me before. She said, well, you're Judge Mills. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, well, you're an important man. And I said, no, ma'am, I'm not any more important than you or anyone else. I just got a job to do. I said, I had some shirts that the clerks had got me that had Judge Mills on. And I said, when I wear this shirt to my mom's house, I don't get any more pork chops than my brother and my sister. My mom's usually here, but you know, I try to view you guys and the surrounding and court or where it's commissioner as my mom's house. When I go to my mom's house, my mom or your mom either not going to put up with any disrespect or any high tone or anything. She'll put you outside. That's the way I view it, that I should act like I'm at my mom's house toward people. It's kind of hard to do in commissioner's court sometimes, so y'all don't have to pray for me. Other than that, when I'm dealing with public, I think I should act like you're at your mom's house, be respectful, and try to help. Yes, sir, Dan?
Well, I got a concern I think everybody in this room has, and that's property taxes. We all realize we have to pay them, but it's how they're appraised is a whole different story.
I wish my brother was still here so he
where'd
can,
he
he
go?
can enlighten you.
I just went and had a powwow with him a couple of days ago.
I'm going to be much better at answering this, but I'm going to tell you what he's told me. Because now my brother is a little quicker than me on the trigger to understand that if you're getting on him and you're wrong, he's going to tell you, then you'll explain why you're wrong. And I did that. I made a mistake. Why are y'all doing this, Rick? He said, just how about you hold on and listen to me? I said, okay, that's what I'm here for. The appraisal district is nothing more than a police agency for the state. The appraisal district don't set the laws. The state mandates that they do this. And if they don't, he said the long and short is, they're going to come down here and take over. If you don't do what the state tells you to do, they're going to come down here and put somebody in that will. So if a chief appraiser gets orders from the state and they don't, like for instance in East County, they weren't paying 100% of the value. It is not. The state mandated that they come in and start taxing at 100%. Tom Martin over here told me they were paying like $500,000 a year when they come in and did that and tax it, which owns a lot of real estate and he's a developer and sales land. It went to $1 million. Well, so if he's doing that, then we're all doing it. But Rick said that it's not the appraisal district and it's not at the county level. I know that you can look on your tax bill and most of your taxes are for the school districts. And now, I'd like you to check, I'm trying to think of this guy's name. He's a county judge in Tarrant County. Go on the internet and read what he put on there. He made a lot of people angry at that at the legislative level because he told the truth of the, I don't know exactly how they're, I know for instance in Texas City where I read, the chemical plants, they give the businesses a big break. Businesses ought to be the one, in my opinion, and I don't have anything against, I'm a business guy, I understand business and I understand we need big businesses to have small business and people to have jobs. But they're more able, that's the way it's supposed to be designed to bring business in and bring development, so to take the burden off of us and put on the business or to lessen the burden. That's not, they can get, like in Texas City, those big fines, they give them a big break and put the burden on the school district down there. And they pull some of their funding. Now, I understand you had the oil crisis, and I'm kind of getting off a little bit now where somebody like my brother needs to be explaining it. But it don't have to be, you don't have to be too smart to figure that out. When the oil hit, well, then they had to come up with that money somewhere, so they cut the funding from the state, and they had, from the state, and they hadn't got all that back. So what do they do? Then they want to make it up somewhere for the schools. The county judge and the rest of the commissioners cut the taxes here, the 20% homestead exemption. They lowered it some. It's not a lot. It helps some, but there's not much more they can cut. But the county, all the services the county provides, I think, is on 16%. If anybody knows a different number, then please tell me if I'm wrong. But they're providing all the services all off 16%. And I don't know exactly what the school taxes are, but they're probably 50% or higher. So the county's doing all that stuff on about 16%, and there's not a lot of room to cut unless you want to start cutting services. So it's got to. I'm gonna have another one of these. I'm gonna make sure Rick stays. I'm telling you, it is enlightening.
They always cut is fire.
Pardon?
The first service they always cut is fire.
Yeah.
The first department they always start with the services they cut is the fire department.
Ma'am,
I had a question on dealing with, you hear about all these studies all the time.
Oh, studies? Okay.
There's always an environmental study and there's always a study to get something done, and I understand that's a part of it. But how can you control these engineering costs where you're getting more bang for your buck? It's actually going into the building, not into the
I had,
design.
I don't want to get too deep in engineering because I kind of pick on them sometimes. When I hear the word engineer, I want to make sure where we're walking.
Well, that's the way I
We're going to spend a lot of money. And you're right. You do have to have engineering firms to lay things out.
They're necessary, but it just seems like all we hear is it's in study, it's in study. And, you know, when, I know for a fact if something's been in study for 3 years, that's costing a lot more money than.
Exactly. I talked to some of the firms that the county does business with, and they don't like it either. They just have a study, then they don't ever do anything. Well, that costs you a ton of money. Well, that study's only good for a certain amount of time, and it makes sense. I never really honestly didn't think about the time frame on it. But population is steady moving in, and whether it's drainage or whatever is changing, where trees grow up, or just a whole number of things. That study's only good for a certain time. If you don't act on what you requested, you're going to have another study, and you're going to have to spend a lot more money.
Yeah.
Getting funding like the road line. If you're planning on, you ought to be able. Most of us in this room, we're not engineers and we're not scientists or anything, but you see where traffic's congested, where if you're traveling that day, where the problem is. But if you're going to do something about that road, and especially if it's going to have to be expanded on the shoulders or the right-of-ways, the first thing you're going to do is start seeing what your right-of-way acquisition, what your costs are going to be for that. Before you ever get a study on what your road is, the first thing you're going to need to know if you're going to get the right-of-way, see what you think you may have to go to eminent domain to get it, or you can buy out to try to get some cost there. And sometimes, it's my understanding that they were doing it backwards. They just go get the study and get what it's going to cost on the road, and they didn't allot any money for the right-of-way. So that's just backwards thinking. Get all your other things done first before you do that. And you're exactly right. That's what the engineering tells me. Man, they just do a study judgment, and then they won't follow up. And it's only good for a certain time frame to do another.
Judge, here about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, the chamber had a meeting up there. And kind of appraisals come back, your strip centers, your mini warehouses, and some other stuff. They're appraising the mini warehouses from the Woodlands using the same price out here in East County.
Well, T.J. Knox had talked to me about, maybe not exactly like that, but the same farm.
But, you know, we're in East County, the Woodlands pay rate, 85,000 to $1 million, you know. And the demographics is completely different over there, the head count, everything. Well, how can they do that appraisal thing?
Don't seem fair to me.
Well, it's not.
And
I mean, I got a friend of mine that had warehouses. They went up $47,000 extra taxes on it. And they went up on all this stuff. And they still, you know, schools are still charging the same thing. You think some of that money could be going to the schools and stuff, which it does. And schools fix what, build a high school and 4 more schools or something.
where it's $200 million bond.
Yeah, $220 million.
And that's from the people moving here. Something else that the county brought up on that y'all is kind of a sore subject to me. And it was about when the county, whenever they do clean the ditches and they get that dirt out of there, why are we having to haul it all the way off somewhere else?
Because they were told they can't give away free dirt anymore, even if it's coming out of that person's own ditch.
Well, it worked for
A long time.
I'm 61 years old, and it worked for all that time. I never had a problem until one of the guys in the Commissioner Clark's office. I didn't really see a problem with it. I don't care if he's a county employee. He's right there close. That's just my opinion. You may see it differently. I didn't see where the guy done anything wrong while I'm dumping the dirt. That dirt. Now, if they would have went and bought some dirt from Smith and Company, some rock or something, and put in there, that would have been illegal. But as far as just taking it out of the ditch and putting it, if his house was the closest to it, and everybody's okay, put it right there.
That's
But
what
used
the
to,
policy's always been.
I asked the county judge about that, and he said, I don't know why. He said, it's my understanding Commissioner Clark is the only one doing that thing. But now,
So what's he
when-
doing with it?
When Judge Dahl was commissioner,
I know it
precinct
went
two,
to
he
a
said, we always
farm
did.
recently.
It just makes sense. It's
Yeah.
man, it's the easiest way in the world to please somebody. And we always liked it around the house. They would, a day or two, I was telling Connie, a day or two in advance, years ago, Ryan Hart and Bull Silas and them would come around and say, hey, we're gonna be cleaning the ditches over here today. Need some dirt, can we put some dirt here? Well, of course, everybody wanted it. Every now and then you'd have a Coke bottle or a beer bottle or something in, but you got the
Yeah.
dirt that you needed.
Right.
Exactly.
So, I don't see why we couldn't change it. Put it back like it was.
Doesn't make
'Cause
sense.
They were, I told her they were at Chateau Woods, some of the guys were working over there. 2 loads is all they can haul from the traffic and the time frame and their allotted work day from Chateau Woods area back over here to New County where they take it to Charlie Harris. That's just insane. That's crazy. What a waste of time and
Fuel,
money.
time,
Wear and tear on equipment.
vehicle,
Labor.
labor.
Yeah.
And it's just not using the resources
You
wisely.
gotta call for your fuel and all in the long way.
So, those are good points. That's some of the things that I certainly agree with, and I'm looking forward to taking on the challenge. We had a terrible mess in 2003 when we took over the JP office. Miss Hayden was right there, and Miss Hayden has she's like family. My mom's right here, and Miss Hayden's right here. Been with us since we first day at the office. As a matter of fact, Miss Hayden never worked in a JP office before, and she took more calls and handled more cases the first day we were there than the people that had been there for all that time. That kind of work ethic is what I'm about. That's why I was accused of Miss Hayden being a political appointee or hire. That's not why I went and asked. I went and asked Charles first, and he told me, he said, James, Jerry would love to come down and help you. We're afraid that people would give you a hard time about being a political appointee. I said, well, let me deal with that. I need somebody with a business frame of mind to come down here and help me get this in order because it's a mess. And I'm not really sure what your age, we're not going to get there, but she still works hard every day. That's the kind of thinking I like, a business approach that we're going to do everything that we can. It is business. It's your business. It's your offices. We're just in charge of it. So I like her and a number of other people that we have there that do an outstanding job. Yes, sir?
One more thing.
Sure.
Minimum housing standards, is that something that's going to come about in our lifetime?
I don't know, but that's something to follow up on right there.
I think that as far as solving some of the East County problems, I think that would go a long ways to that. You know, a lot of counties have on mobile homes. I got nothing against mobile homes, but when you start dragging in a 50-year-old mobile home, setting it next to somebody's $150,000 house, that's offensive on every level.
That's my
It's not fair.
neighborhood.
And then we found,
Sewage run on the ground.
you worked in the health department for years, you see that sometimes then they abandon them, and then there you are. And I've had cases in court recently that people just walked off and left them, what do you do with them? And constables have to deal with it, and some of them you can't even move them. If you move them 100 feet, they just fall apart all over the road. It's a problem. You know, Reinhardt worked on that some. I talk about him often, but they demolished some houses and things for the county expense where they were terrible pest problems, and people were living in them, you know, with no electricity, no anything. And some of them were drug houses. Rowdy and the guys were continually having to work there, and the people basically abandoned it. So Reinhardt and them, they got it condemned, and they went in and cleaned it up. That's something else. I'm certainly not opposed to doing that. It's an eyesore, it's dangerous,
And we all know what's going on. So,
and
yeah.
Rowdy and them, I appreciate the job that the Constables Department does. They work hard. I signed a lot of drug warrants for them that are still here lately, and they're working hard to make the community a little. I told them here a while back, I don't know if I'm safer, but I feel safer. You see a lot of activity.
Yeah, they're certainly a lot more visible, which is good. It doesn't seem to be slowing them down, but
Constable Hayden and I have always worked well together. When folks loved it, when Ed was there and I was the judge and Riley's the constable, I mean, everybody, not everybody, but for the most part, we're happy because we work well together. If you call a commissioner up, can you help me with this? Absolutely. He'd call me up, can you help me with this, or can you be over here and speak at this, or do this, same way around. And if you need help, they're gonna step up to the plate and do it. And one more thing, I've said this many, many times. Your government should work for you. After all, you pay for it. That's what James Met saying. You may not get it or not. I believe that in all my heart. That government, your government ought to work for you instead of against you. We're paying for all this stuff, and we need folks to work together. And it'll work a lot better. And good Lord, you guys blessed me to get in there. I already get along well with Riley. Jason Dunn is going to be, in my opinion, a great JP. He's already been in law enforcement for narcotics and all. He's patient and he's understanding. He's a little comical sometimes. It seems to be dry, but he's just a nice guy, and I believe that he really does care. His family, he's raised here as well, just like me. And he has the experience. He's doing some civil stuff now, which Kim is, that's here, Kim Jessup, the civil clerk, very, very knowledgeable, years of civil experience, so she's going to stay on board and help him out, be a wonderful asset there for those of you that have, like you, if you have rental property and all that, hopefully you never have a problem, but if you do, you're still going to be able to stand to. Some of you in here have rental property, and sometimes you have to take care of it.
Can I ask a question? It's not commissioner related, but I have a friend that someone is supposedly renting the property but not paying. She doesn't have a court date until the 24th. Why does it take so long to get into court to do an eviction? Because undoubtedly the guy is going to destroy her place.
Sometimes that can happen. We have, the law mandates that you have civil court at least once every 30 days. I have it every week. And the caseload is one
It
thing.
just takes that long.
It's going to, you have 6 to 10, there's a 6 to 10 day rule. It can't go to court before the 6th day on your notice time or after 10. That's to be able to get, so when you file your paperwork, then we have to get the notice or service. We get
He's
with the
been
constable.
served, I know that.
Get with the constable, with the Riley's department, and they'll get the service done in 6 to 10 days.
Yeah.
And then whatever, we try to have it in 2 weeks, but sometimes with a caseload like we have right now, we're getting them there as fast as we
Yeah,
can.
it's
We're
about a month. And
we
I was
do
just
like
curious, why does it take so long?
I know that seems like a long time, but, and I know this is not the requirement, sometimes it would take, if you're only having once every 30 days, like Cindy McMillan would, it'd take 3 months sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the line cuts off before this building, were you in precinct 4?
Right behind the courthouse, the neighborhood.
Oh,
right
you're
behind the
right,
courthouse.
okay, I thought you
Yeah.
was here.
No,
No, that's,
the tenant is Casey Ridge. Does that matter?
I don't like for it to be any more than 3 weeks out on that, but with the time frames and them serving it, we try to get it. A month is really not acceptable.
Well, the funny thing is, he texted her the day he got served and told her to stay 500 feet away from his property, but it's her property.
Right. You have a right to respect your property. Dan and Ricky can tell you that. Can you go over there and kick the door in the middle of the night? Well, I wouldn't advise that.
Right.
But you certainly have a right.
She's not.
You go change the lock, as long as you, and they won't need, you gotta unlock it and let them in.
On a commercial deal, on a residential, you can't just change the lock, but you can go check it for some, cause people are mean, it seems like, and getting worse these days. If there's a fire hazard, or if there's water running out there, if they've broken the
Well, he has
water.
sold everything of hers that was on the property, like some ladders and stuff like that. He has sold everything.
I believe
So-
they kick out walls, they'll intentionally bring in pets in and just destroy the place.
Yeah, I'm sure he is too.
Cost of being a landlord, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't make it right. I get them, if they, once they come in and say you come in and they don't even show up, it's a default eviction.
He's
So
not
they'll
going to,
have
I'm
5 days.
sure.
They have 5 days to vacate, 5 days to appeal. They have a right to appeal beyond that, but if they don't, and they still don't get out, you have to come, and this is something that gets under my skin.
This is.
You have to come back and get a writ of possession, and you have to pay for that writ of possession. It was 135, I know it's probably up around 150 now. You have to pay for that writ of possession for the constables to come back out and make you get out, and then you still have 48 hours after the constable comes up and tells you got 48 hours to get out. If you don't get out then they will physically move
Yeah,
you.
I don't see that happening. He'll probably just wait till the day of the court day and then leave, I'm assuming.
Oh, they cut people, you can't legally just go up there and turn somebody's water. There is a process to do that. But sometimes they'll do that.
Yeah, she's not doing anything, she's waiting till the court date and riding it out, but it's just
Well, you
unfortunate.
can rest assured they're gonna get out.
Yeah,
And we've had all, you name it, I've heard it, to this, why they need to stay, but and they, I just don't, they don't understand sometimes, well, you know, I need to know the month. Well, if some people, that's their income, or they may have put all their retirement in 4 or 5 mobile
Right.
homes or some commercial stuff,
Right.
that's their, and if they're not paying, they have to meet their obligations, they have to pay their taxes, they have to, if they steal mortgages, they have to pay their notes. And I want you, and that's why I started having it every week on eviction.
can she go after him criminally for damages or for the stuff that he sold?
That would be civil. Filing small claim.
Oh, but not
But
criminally?
the question's gonna be asked, did you physically see him do this?
No, but we have the postings on Letgo where he was selling the stuff.
But
So,
still, that's gonna be.
But on the civil side, I'm pretty knowledgeable of that, and I ruled where they went in and owned up, and you get a judgment on them, sometimes you get your money, sometimes you
yeah,
don't.
probably not.
But it's sometimes difficult finding good people to rent.
Yeah.
If they can't pay the rent, might as well just drop it and go on about your business. But
Well,
you're not
I
gonna
mean,
get
she just
anything
wants them out,
of it.
you
Yeah.
know, that's it, just get out. Plain and simple.
We see it, we're family members, grandfathers are kicking grandkids out because they just can't take it anymore. People
Yeah.
have people crying in front of you, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And then some of them kick their adult children out, they're on difficult times, but when they come back to home and doing drugs, adults, grown folks, and being abusive, you have to have some relief. But that's about all I have for you guys. Again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your support and for battling with me on Facebook along with Greg. I don't comment. It's really not appropriate as you judge. But it is entertaining to watch it. I appreciate you guys coming to my defense because some of you don't know all the details like I know the truth about the accusations that have been made against me. But I have wonderful folks like Hayden and others, and they'll tell you the truth if you want to ask them of how we do things there. We try to be professional, and I try to treat the ladies and Brian. Brian's my chief of staff there. He has, I call him an educated boy. He's a yellow dog Democrat from New Jersey, but he's a very smart guy. He has a degree in business administration and economics. He does a great job for us for the most part. The ladies have pretty much got him in line like me. So we show up and, yes ma'am, what I need to sign, and everything works well. So you have an office, truthfully, that you can be proud of at the JP level down there that functions well. I haven't sat down and talked about any changes that Jason Dunn may want to make. He may want to do some things himself. He's a very smart man. He has a degree in criminal justice, I believe. So like I said, law enforcement for 20 years, but seems to be a very fair guy, and I'm looking forward to help him in any way I can. I told him I would be available, just like Judge Spikes was for me. But Judge Spikes, poor guy, it's one you don't hate me because I woke him up a lot of times at 2 in the morning. What about this particular thing on this desk? And he's always patient and kind, and I'm going to do my best to do the same for Jason if there's something on investigating deaths, like we had to work the train pedestrian today. There may be something that he hadn't seen at this right, and I want to do my best to help him, help you guys by helping him to do a good job. Commissioner Reinhardt was our commissioner for 15 years. He's offered to me a number of times. He hasn't asked one thing from me. He said, James, if I can help you in any way, call on me. I made the same offer to Jim Clark, and not one time did Jim ever call, ask for my advice or help. Jim Clark should have called and asked a lot of advice from Ed Reinhardt. And I will do the same. There's gonna be things that I'm pick up the phone. I've watched Ed Reinhardt do this. Sometimes the county can't always do things. You can't do things on private property. Like you want to help, like where there's sometimes fix a code or something. Ed Reinhardt, I was standing there when we sued together, and they had the trucking company pick it up. He said, "Sue, take a load of dirt to so and so's over there and put that down on my part of the business." I thought that's pretty nice. Now, I'm trying to do that along with my son Jamie, Ryan Hayes, and all. We're trying to, when we can, from private business. There's a lot of private business that'll step up to the plate just by Jamie picking up the phone or Rowdy or myself and say, "Hey, we're going to help these folks over here. What can we do for them?" They'll provide a little, sometimes they'll donate a little money for some rock or something like that. That's something else that we're wanting to try to do to set that. Jamie's already agreed that he come up with an idea to help that just some business people. Like I said, we can't help everybody, but there's going to be certain fixed words where it's an elderly person. That's what that was when Reinhardt. They didn't have their own fixed income. They didn't have any money. They couldn't even get in their driveway. The county couldn't do it legally. Reinhardt did, and I'll remember that from now on. They went over there and put the dirt down. You could probably tell more stories about that than me. He didn't have to do that. You wouldn't have known about it if I hadn't brought it up. That's where it always be. Well, try to help each other out when we can. I believe that Ed did, so does Rowdy, and others, and that's what we'll do. I'll do my best to make you proud that I'm your commissioner. You can count on that. So might take a little patience to start, but we already kind of know some things that we already know where we're behind and see what they're doing. And I've got some ideas that'll be more efficient and words like trimming limbs and things like that. We just have experience that. Just like we fixed the road in Patton Village. Jim Clark didn't know how to do that, and his guys did. I just happen to know the ground in that area and what was underneath it. They put that underground, that sewer, right out in the middle of the street because they had no place because there were lakes on both sides. And they put stabilize on it. Stabilize, we call stabilize is sand that has cement mixed in with it, and it'll once it sets up, it's hard, almost hard as paper.
That must be what they put in the half driveways on my street.
Well, they put crushed concrete.
It looks like crushed concrete, but it's soft at first, but then when it sits for a while,
it'll get real hard.
yeah, that's,
well, that's what they did. What was required to do by the engineers over there on that street in Patton Village when we went in there after Harvey and fixed that. But they're not required to do it all the way to the top. So they had there's 12 feet down is where your underground was, your manhole, not your manhole, but the pipe. So they had stabilized around that. So in between there, that makes a hard surface. And this is all sand all the way up to here. And with all that rain, that just made that kind of mushy. So the best thing would have been to do was to put mats down, like Jamie and them use out there in the woods when it's soft ground for environmental reasons. Put these laminated mats. They just look like 2 bases like that, and they're nailed together. But we didn't have those available. So the next thing is use something called 3x5 rock. It's just crushed concrete rocks about big as your fist, and they'll kind of make a map like that. But Clark and them and his guys, they didn't know, and that's a problem by not knowing. They put built asphalt and stuff. That's the worst thing you could have done. It's very expensive, and it's real fine, and it just simply didn't work. They worked on it for 2 days, and Mary Tarrant called me back and said, "Man, this is worse than it was when they started. Please help." I said, "I'll be down there in the morning, we'll fix it." They worked on it for 2 days. I called Charlie Hargrove, Kim's dad. I said, "Charlie, find me a little 3x5 down there, daylight tomorrow." Called my cousin Wade with us. I said, "Ray, bring that little excavator now, it's too big." In 2 hours, we had that truck, that bobtail truck going there pumping those lift stations out. See, Pat Bitch put a brand new sewer system in there, and Harvey shot down all their, it was brand new working property, and shot down all their, they don't have any pumps to pump this water up out of the, when it goes down to a lower end to put it up to the processing part of the sewer system. And so all this raw sewage is just bubbling up out of the manhole cover. You got serious health issues right there. And it went for 48 hours. And then again, I'm not Einstein or sharp, I just happen to know from years of experience and working with this stuff, I fixed that problem, how to do it in a timely manner, and we did it 2 hours. So that's the kind of things that I'll be thinking, that's the kind of people I'll have around me at the top, that are just as sharper than I am. Sometimes you just have to, Jackie used to love to watch MacGyver. I didn't care much about MacGyver. Sometimes you just have to MacGyver sometimes. and it'll work effectively, but it may not be like the engineers over there, but it'll work and get that taken care of until you can do it. That's kind of the way I think. Well, I've had to think that way sometimes. And, you know, plotting solutions to problems that maybe nobody else has done. So, anything else? I talked way too long. I'm surprised. I see Diane shaking her head over every time you shut up. Jamie Nash is usually going, okay, good. But I have truly enjoyed this today and visiting with you guys. And again, thank you so much for believing in me. Vote. You know, your Social Security number is supposed to be private. We can find each other's Social Security number stuff today. You can find out all kinds of stuff. You might know that you voted Democrat or Republican, but so far you don't know who you voted for. And for enough people, that's the last sacred thing pretty much that you have. And when enough people go to vote for you, they're putting their trust in you to do the right thing. The Conroe Courier asked me, what do you think about having an ethics policy? Because we're all rapping about ethics and integrity and all this. By the way, thank Brett Liggins. I got a Brett Liggins, did attorney, called me the face of integrity. Squatting on for that guy's tough. And for him to feel that way in his heart and his mind about me, to think that I'm straight enough up for him to call me that, I appreciate it. It means something to me. You've got to try to do the right thing, guys. And it's important to me. I've always done that in the family, and I'll do my best not to let you down. Any other questions you guys might have? I'll try to answer as best I can. I've been patient.
If everybody can just bring 5 people with them to vote.
If you can get one, Ricky Gardner's already got 5. You get one, but the more you can get, the better. And that's how we'll win, guys. Is if you can get your husband or your spouse or your child or your parents to go vote, you get yourself and one more. I think I got 3,500 votes now. We don't think that we'll, because it's a runoff, and so I don't think it would be unfair to get every one of those back, but we feel we're going to get a lot of people back because a lot of them already voted to 65 and older on the mail-in ballot, and with all the people on the team that are going to be working the phones and different things and early voting, some of our friends are probably going to get tired of us calling. We're going to try to have a list and check off the ones that we know that have voted, so we're not calling them multiple times to go back and vote once they vote. But we've got a good team in place to make sure we call. I told some of you, one gentleman, he wrote a check for the campaign for $500, but he didn't go vote primary. He just got busy. He just knew I had it, you know. And I'm not angry at him. I understand. Everybody just knew you had it. You don't have it. You got to go vote.
Don't take it for granted.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
If the turnout is dismal again, there won't be another runoff, right?
No, this is it. There's only 2 people, and it's either going to be Parker or myself. Okay. Lordy.
So we have to share all the stuff on the Facebook from now till
Yeah,
the
that's
20th.
okay.
I got one more thing. It's a funny story about voting in the primary. I had to go get, I guess everybody's overeating in here. I had to go get a minor surgery on my testicles that day. So when I got done, I drove straight to the school to vote, only to discover I couldn't get out of the car. The elderly folks that were running the poll there, box, came out and he brought me a wheelchair, wheeled me in there, you know, and I couldn't see up over the thing, so he said, just move right, you know, and guided me through it. But
They assisted you?
that's the kind of determination it takes to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody displays that.
Well, in 92 or 3, see, Jim Dozier was running for sheriff back then. And Jim Dozier was, in all the polls and everything, Jim Dozier was ahead. And that's who everybody was supporting. And I didn't have any problem with Guy Williams, worked with him for, he was sheriff whenever I came on board at JP. But everybody wanted Jim Dozier. He was the next sheriff. Guy Williams beat him because everybody, or enough people just didn't go vote. And I was shocked, people were shocked, they just couldn't believe that Guy Williams had won when Jim Dozier was a shooter. And it can happen again. But I just have a better feeling this time I did. That people are angry and nervous and upset, and they see the problems just like I'm driving on the road, you're driving on, you're seeing the trash, you're dealing with the mosquitoes, and I think there's enough people upset now that I truly believe we can pull it off. I'll do my best not to let you down, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be grateful.